And good morning here in Allen, Texas for the Grand Prix, the first one, Skate America. It's a little early right now, 7 a.m., and these skaters are already about to take the ice. Last night we had some phenomenal skating in the pairs and women's event. I saw some phenomenal things from Isabeau, Danny, and Ellie, amongst all the other athletes that were in the event. I'm so thrilled to see what's about to happen later today, but starting first, we have the ice dance practice, and the skaters are taking the ice now. So the past 2 days, I've just been covering all the ins and outs of what it was being an athlete and how it felt to get yourself prepped for competition. And as you saw last night, there were some great performances where the practices may have not been aligned with what the performance was in the best way possible, like showing that level of professionalism, of showing up and doing your job right when it matters. So I think today it's going to be really interesting just to see how the skaters out here right now are setting themselves up. I mean, usually the ice dance practices are very crazy and intense. These teams are fighting for spots that are points, decimal points apart, and I think that that intensity is already known, and these skaters are trying to push as much as they can, which does create quite a few close calls, but I'm really excited to see what these skaters bring. Who decides to go and give us a little bit more of a technical run, maybe more of a performative run, seeing what they want to get themselves into. On today's schedule, you can see that we're starting off with the ice dance practice, followed by the pairs, men's, and then women's. And then party starts 1 p.m. Central Time, ice dance, rhythm dance, and then followed by the pairs free skate for today. As you can see on the screen, the Canadians, Alicia and Paul, getting their midline step set up. Looking calm and relaxed. I think that a lot of different skaters have different approaches, like I said. I think the day of competition, Caitlin and I really set it up as like a 2-day day in a way that sounds a little silly, but it was something we learned from someone very special to us, and in terms of kind of setting ourselves up for not thinking about too much about the competition later today. How do I put myself in a scenario to be the most present? And when I think as a day as a whole, sometimes it can be so taxing and you're thinking so much about the performance later, and that energy is so draining. So we oftentimes put ourselves in the thought process of like, okay, so wake up, have our breakfast, do our warm-up, and then we're going to reset and restart our day. So that way it didn't feel so overwhelming, because the skating itself is manageable, absolutely. It's more about how do we set ourselves up to manage that energy, so when it comes to game time later today, we can really dance that thing out. I think when you're now in these first groupings, you're seeing teams that have that maturity and teams that are learning how to get that maturity in terms of that comfort level. And I think that that just comes down to your ISU world ranking and your points for your skating order. It's not just a random draw. Although that would be very interesting. It's now kind of set up in a way that based off of your world ranking is the order that you're skating in. So you're going to start seeing some skaters out here that have some movement to moving into that second grouping for the free dance, assuming that they skate as best as they can. Taking the ice first, Annabelle and Jeffrey. Amazing opportunity for them to be here. Little DJ spinning the decks there on that one, unintentionally, I think. When that happens, I will say it's so distracting. It's so hard to reset that breath and get yourself in that performance headspace again when you get pulled out immediately. Like, is the music going to work or not? Starting off with the passo step here, we're going for the partial step. Here's the first step of it. We're going for that mohawk, outside mohawk Jeffrey did. Now, to get that outside mohawk clean on these turns is so, so challenging because one of the requirements this year is that they're only allowed to have 2 counts for each part of the turn, so your entry and exit. Sometimes in ice dance you can really have a back inside rocker, for instance, Annabelle MOROZOV there. You can see it for 4 counts, if not longer, just on the entry edge to show that quality and that run of edge. But the challenge of this is the cadence that's required for these turns. Now you'll notice that in order to keep the rhythm, all these turns, they only have 2 counts for the entry and the 2 exit. You can go shorter, but it's not really advised to cut it that quick. The more time you have to set that body, the better. Spacing's quite good throughout this so far. I wish that I did feel that the performance was going together, though. I feel like it's very for the judges. Now, I know before I get tweeted at, the judges do give the scores, and that's really important. But I think what's so fun, particularly about social dancing, is that you're not dancing for other people. You can dance with other people, but you're not performing for them. So I'm kind of seeing a lot of performative moments, which is great. But I'd love for that to be more directed towards one another. As if like the lights are dimmed and you're just seeing these two dancing together and you're like, oh, you're in your seat bouncing from side to side. That's the energy that I'd love to see be omitted today from some of these skaters. They're so just in it for themselves and for each other that you want to come with them where that social aspect comes along. I think the best reference point I could have is like if you're at a wedding and you see someone on the dance floor dancing by themselves and all of a sudden the song comes on that everyone likes and then you're kind of bobbing in your seat and you look at the person next to you like, should we go dance? That's the feeling that I would love to have here, where you can just get people on that dance floor. Now, please note, please don't get on the ice, fans and everybody that's in the arena. Please don't step on the ice. I don't think that's going to be the move. Yet we have not had somebody try to run across the ice during an event like a football player, but I would love to have that feeling. Next we have Alicia and Paul. I mentioned yesterday this team has similar attributes to Hubble and Donahue, the U.S. team, in a way of just the power band that they create. Sometimes they just do 2 crossovers or even just 1, and all of a sudden it just comes out of nowhere how much power they're getting. I think as they develop as a team, it's going to be learning how to refine that to a place where they can really just create that consistency of that power where it doesn't become a little out of control, but more times than not, it's very in control. 7 a.m., 7:10 a.m., and I'm bobbing my seat already. I'm liking the music choices. Love a good Elvis tune. So sometimes what's actually quite challenging in a rhythm dance is to show the skating skill side of a team. I find that because the required cadence of it being 50s, 60s, and 70s can make skating become a little choppy at times. Here's that paso doble partial step that you're looking at. That change edge, quite big actually. That mohawk's the first turn for Paul. Next turn, Paul doing a bracket, 2 counts, 2 counts. I do love this team's connection that they have for one another. I think that when they take that millisecond longer just to really see one another, they have a difference of seeing somebody versus observing somebody. Some teams you see are told to look at one another and you're not really seeing the other person. I love it when teams really see one another as opposed to observing. Now this could be a lot of fun right here. Even at 7 a.m. Good skate from Alicia and Paul. That'll feel good to just get themselves set up for the day. Again, a lot can change before it's later today in terms of when the event actually is.
Dance on behalf of Georgia. They'll be followed by Olivia Smart, Tim DIECK.
Skating now will be Diana and Gleb from Georgia. Now their free dance yesterday really impressed me. Thought there was some major difficult things transitionally within that performance and the elements themselves. So I think that seeing how they can keep their cool here, I think for a team like this, not less is more, because that can be really interpreted as don't try as hard. But I think that there's a really fine lesson in knowing that I'm going to show that I'm good versus I know that I'm good. And that's where I lean into that less is more, like trust yourself. So this team took a different approach. Their midline is not as fast over the ice, but what I like is that you're really being given the opportunity to show that cleanliness of edge and the depth and the control that it takes. Now, standing still on one foot on the ice is not easy. The faster you go, the easier, for the most part, it is to balance. So when you do take a slower tempo, you can take your time more, but it does take more control to an extent. Setting up that partial step, starting with the paso doble slips. Here's the change edge that I love to see. I think we can go a little deeper on that. Definitely wouldn't try to later, but as the season develops, seeing that would be awesome. And now for an element like this, like in history's way, I find that like your partial step sequence in a rhythm dance particularly, it's hard to get good GOEs in it because there's all these requirements and you're in hold the whole time. There isn't any moments of breaking that hold, or there shouldn't be. So it's hard to, one, find that dance. So I find that when you have a shorter partial step, musically across the ice, it's not like a let's get in it so we can get out of it quickly, but understanding that sometimes putting a lot of energy into your partial step to fill that space, even if the music's really cool, it's going to be like chipping away at really hard rock to get those high GOEs. we talked about good partnering. You can see it all there. Everything's super clear. Clarity is key. Very different from the first practice that they had their rhythm dance with. Nice and settled. I like it. They look calm. They look ready.
Rhythm dance for Olivia Smart, Tim D, who skate on behalf of Spain. They'll be followed by Elizabeth.
Next we have Olivia and Tim from Spain. Little mistake there from Tim. I was just about to say before too, they feel like they're right in the pocket they want to be, where it's not too much. Let the skating do its work. Let the skating do its work. The work has been done. So finding when you want to push and when you want to just stay calm. It's hard to keep that breathing going, and really when you lose that breathing as you're skating, you think you can get a tiny bit tighter, and that tiny bit tighter just amplifies those nerves, and it's just a big trickle effect. But I don't think that they're necessarily nervous. I think this is 7 in the morning. The in-between's very nice. One, 2 of 5 seconds or 1 of 10 seconds. So you see the most of these teams will be doing a dance stop for the most part in their midline step. Very clean, intentional steps on all of this here. Trying to get themselves primed and ready to get those higher levels for later on. Trying to hit that GOE mark as well. As I was mentioning, you'll see 2 dance stops. Most likely you'll see the majority of the teams do 1 5-second one in the midline step and another one in the choreo step, just because you can really get those GOEs and those elements on how you perform them. Here they about to start their choreo step, another dance stop, 5 seconds or less. Now, if you go over 5 seconds, you will get a deduction. There was a scenario where that happened to Caitlin and I. I think we had a dance stop of 5.1 second, or 5.1 or 5.2 seconds, just over, and it ended up being a scenario where we were very close to winning a rhythm dance. Very grounded skate for Olivia and Tim. They feel like they're in the right pocket, getting their energy organized for later. Just add a couple more elements, and that's job's a good one.
KILIAKOV and Alexei KILIAKOV, who dance on behalf.
Next on the ice, the Israelis. Elizabeth and Alexi. After seeing their free dance yesterday, I thought it was really in the pocket of their skating style, so I'm really excited to see how their rhythm dance this time around, if it settles in a little bit more from the first practice. Hard entrance to the twizzles. Far apart. Really good indicator for anyone at home. If the camera zooms out a little bit, it's usually not a great reference point for distance on twizzles. So That got a little far. It's going to be hard to get a lot of positive GOEs on that, even if the second part's executed really well. That pattern style step. Wow, very hard. And it's such a fine line of pushing creativity to also allowing the integrity of the build of the dance to just be seen. Now he went on the opposite side of her for that moment then, and he went behind her instead of staying in front of her, which is quite challenging to do because they have a back-to-back moment during that change of edge. Now the change of edge doesn't count for anything in terms of technical things, but as a judge, it really goes off of personal preference then. Like you could be like, wow, that's very different, or you could say that's hard, it loses like the effect that I'd like. It really just is determined on how you deliver your product. Bigger part from that team this time. What I'd love to see, particularly from Alexi, is how he does this performance here. As the start of that choreo step, he really started using his face, but in the transition prior to that, it was a little focused. So I think that what's really important, and again, as you get that experience and that maturity, is like not losing that as you start thinking. Like even if you're thinking and there's demons inside your head or all of the things above, I think that what's super important is staying true to that experience of the performance at every step. If you have any questions, send them to me at US Figure Skating on X. I'll do my best to try to answer them in time. Also, I do know it's quite early, so I can't imagine many questions coming in yet. That's all good. I'll do my best to keep this party rolling, but I don't have to do much. They're doing it all for me out here. There's been a couple close calls out here. That was not one of them, but it's been very hard for me to silence myself and not yell for some of the skaters. So on the screen, as you can see, you can watch the Ice Dance Rhythm Dance later today at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, and that will be on Peacock. I really think you guys should check this out. It's going to be a great event. You'll be able to see your world champions, your reigning world champions later in the second grouping. They'll be competing later today. From Great Britain, Lilah and Lewis, fourth in the world. I think that you're going to start seeing some phenomenal skating just throughout this whole event. A lot of fun. So you can see a lot of these skaters now are taking their time and just kind of filling the space, taking in the arena, taking in that energy. Is very much something that I love to do myself, and Caitlin as well. Just kind of giving yourself that moment to really appreciate what's happening and where you are. And because when it's game time later, you're so homed in on one another and the job that you have to do that it's not until you hit your end pose you really realize what's just happened, good or bad. But it's more just you want to be able to take in this environment and see all of it, so that way it doesn't feel like a shock to that nervous system or anything later today. And that can come down from even just the lights and the lights themselves. When you start seeing so many amazing
This concludes the warm-up for Group 1. The warm-up for Group 2 is now taking the ice.
It's all the skaters from the first warm-up. Solid skate from pretty much everybody.
Music will play for each team in the following order: Leah and Artem MARKELOV, Katerina and Daniel, Marie-Jade and Roman, Madison, Chock, and Evan, Lilah and Lewis GIBSON.
Now the second grouping's taking the ice. Another group of phenomenal skaters. I think what's always so interesting about ice dance is that you're getting a lot of the same technical sheets. Like you may get some of your top teams getting some sneaky level 3 footworks coming out, some more than not. The difficulty of getting those 3s and 4 footworks is you'd think should be easy because these guys are some of the best, if not the best in the world. And you think it'd be a walk in the park, but honestly, like to get your footwork level called, it is so challenging. And like you can skate it and it can feel like you finish it and you're like, wow, that was great, and you'll just walk away with a nice level 1. And sometimes the skates themselves, you'll be doing a skate, they're like, hey, it's a little didn't feel the best, and you can walk away with a 3 or a 4. And it's always so interesting just to see how when those technical sheets and those scores come up, how much it's like, oh, okay, I guess it either aligns with the feeling you have or not. I think that it's always so interesting. But I think what I'm more getting at is that to differentiate some of these teams is very hard, especially the higher up you're getting. It's not just a matter of like the elements that they're bringing to the table, but so much the quality. I oftentimes when I'm working with skaters or teams, it's like I want Michelin star, not McDonald's. And I know that sounds kind of crazy, although I do love McDonald's. I want Michelin star. I need every single thing that you deliver to be thought out, not just here's your food and you're delivering me food. And I think sometimes it's hard to get to that point, because when you have that desire not just to be the best, because every skater out here is doing the best that they very much can, but it's that every time a hand or a foot leaves the ice, even down to just the effortlessness of the partnering, how when you do a change edge or all of those things, like everything is intentional and purposeful with how you'd like it to be done, how you'd like it to be seen, and how you want it to feel, because all of those things need to be taken into account. You'll also see a lot of these teams getting very close to the wall, especially in this grouping, just pushing as much as they can, using as much of that real estate as they possibly can, just for those turns and that passo particularly. First we have skating is Leah and Artem, the current junior world champions. As you see, we are running out of space every time we get close to the wall. A little bit more of that slower over the ice approach, but you're trying to get all of these edges clean as much as possible, and also like having some fun little moments. They had the little quick dance stop there. They also had the little mini split jump. I think just like creating some moments is so important. See a little bit more intention today of trying to dance this. The thing that I always like lean into is when I'm working with somebody or when I watch skating is I would try to have them like stand there and two-step to it. And how does it make you feel? Am I bouncing up? Am I bouncing down? How does your body naturally move to it? You don't need to fully have to be good at counting to feel like you can have some sense of rhythm, just a little bit. I mean, this is the ice dance rhythm dance, so I think I want to feel and see that rhythm. Spacing stayed very consistent that whole time just then. I wish there was more of a reaction from that throw too. Like he just threw over his head in a backflip style motion, and then he got to her, and then we're gonna dance again. Like, yo, she just flipped. Like, be impressed with how your partner just handled all of that in a way like it's more of a game together then, and you feel that interaction. Very solid lift. Wow. The strength and the flexibility that Leah has to have in order to make that work, and the rotational speed of Artem for that is very, very strong.
This is the rhythm dance for Katerina, MRAZKOVA, and
strongest element I would say is actually the rotational lift of that performance.
They'll be followed by Marie-Jade and Roman.
Next we have the Czech brother and sister duo.
The Beatles, who originated as a small-time act out of Liverpool, now have no rivals at the kingpins of the teenage set.
Wow, that was so fast out of the corner. Wow, they are powerful. A little far apart, but any closer would be a little bit dangerous and risky, but the power that this team has is insane. I don't know how, like, if they do run-throughs with parachutes on or weighted vests, because, like, that is just exquisite in terms of how much power they just got out of those 2 crossovers then. I really don't know another team in the world other than their training mates, the other Czech team, that would be able to get that amount of power. Like, they know how to push. And at times, it's exciting. Like, at times I like that. At times I do want to see that, but I think with a team like this, I see a little bit of it too much. Very, very hard steps there, though. That jumping mohawk step, that is not a walk in the park, I can tell you right now. There's a reason I never did it. Way in the corner. Not a bad thing. You want to maybe even try to hide that mohawk if you can from the technical panel. Back inside rocker. This performance is very different than what I saw the first day of practice. I'm starting to really like this. Particularly, it's like it's got a stiffness in a way that creates clarity that fits with the music, in my opinion. Just particularly for that section. I think in this part, I would like it to loosen up a little bit more, like we're running through like a field or like with our friends to a concert. I feel like it's a little just let's push again. Some good stuff though. Great power. The power band of this team is unreal. And the assertiveness of edge that they create too. Like, there's no question. They're not like, oh, well, if ice isn't good, I hope I don't catch an edge. No, we're just going to make sure if I do catch an edge, I'm making a new one through it, which I do love. Very grounded. Next on the ice, Marie-Jade and Roman. Like I mentioned yesterday, if you watched the free dance practice from them, is they have some really cool tricks, and they have some fun moments within this performance. All those little assisted jumps are so easy for a team like this, and so dynamic as well. Going into the midline step. I love the slicked back hair from Romain. I think it's a very solid look for him. Very fitting for the style. Little far apart on that, like we could just move one of them over a body, just go 6 inches closer. Just one of them would make all the difference in the world for that. Because right now I don't have a wow factor, although it's so musical. If it's a little bit closer, it's gonna be like, wow, they're so clear and they're so controlled. When I create a precise image for you to be able to see, that's when that wow happens. Very similar to the Czech team, they had 2 repeated movements. The Czech had like a jumping mohawk kind of moments, and they just had like a jumping rocker almost, 2-footed. And I think that just having it twice over just makes that a little bit more like, do you see it? Oh, do you saw it? I know you saw it. Cool, very solid skate from Marie-Jade and Roman. I think that's definitely with a pocket that they'd like to be in for this afternoon.
This is the rhythm dance from Madison, Chock, and Evan, who dance on behalf of the United States of America. They'll be followed by Lilah, Fear, and
Little close call there. Czech team almost ran right into Maddie and Evan. On the ice now is Madison and Evan. A little wobbly from Evan there. So when things like that used to happen to me, I know that it can trickle into a performance, but it actually kind of woke me up. I mean, speaking of waking up, it's only 7:47 a.m., but I think that it has the opportunity to do one of 2 things. It's either going to be like, uh-oh, here goes the rest of the skate, I'm just going to be all off because I'm going to think of that. Or it's like a, oh, wakey, wakey, time to get started. And I think that might have been exactly what just happened for Evan, because those twizzles that he just produced there with Madison were just solid. Like, you could come over and try to push him over and he would just laugh and he'd be like, no, I'm still twizzling. Now I want to keep in that same pocket, forgetting about what happened at the beginning, but using it as an opportunity to make sure it's like a wake-up call. Great spacing for this. It's time for the Madison. Good little play on words there. Very fun. Quite close. Ooh, the wall is not going to move. I've tried. Great. Just exquisite partnering across the board. Same lobes. Everything's the same in a way that they can be individuals next to one another, but doing it together. Ooh, tight on that wall again. So hard with the rule requirements in ice dance, particularly the rhythm dance. There's so many pattern rules that you have to pay attention to, and quite honestly, they're so hard to describe with words and not have a paper or a body to show you on the ice. But I think that what's really cool about this is like trying to see the teams that can manage those patternings, and I think that they're doing a good job. It's just we're right on the brink of the walls. Excellent lift for Madison and Evan, man. Solid skate. They are right where they want to be for later. Very cool skate. As a full piece, like you get taken on a full journey throughout it, just through the different decades. And I think they're emulating so many different dance styles. I think it's so cool to see. And skating last will be Lilah and Lewis from Great Britain. Another little music malfunction straight out of the gate there. It's not the first time that happened to Annabelle and Jeffrey on the previous previous session, excuse me. Uh-oh. You know what? Setting up twizzles when there's a team in the path that you're going to go, even after you say up, is quite stressful because there's a moment of like, I'm going to commit to this, but also I need to pay attention and not let it distract me and stay true to the patterning, because I know that people are watching and I don't want to give them the opportunity to see like, oh yeah, that could be a little far. So being able to stay engaged the whole time is so, so important. Not getting pulled out, but staying aware. Oh. Little fall from Lewis there. Well, big fall, quite honestly. This is a team that have had music problems all week, to be honest with you. That's not usually their fault. They played the wrong music for both in the rhythm and the free, and then starting this performance, there was a judder at the very top, which is not normal. So it's just, again, it creates that little space for stories in your mind. So it's going to be a big mental thing later on to be like, okay, are we going to have a music problem? Because every single time they've stepped on the ice, the last 3 days now, there has been an issue with the music. So not letting that story become a story to distract you or pull you out. In moments like that, Caitlin and I would probably take a quick step back, not music related, but if there was a team in the way, we're gonna skip just like 5 more seconds of this, reset, recenter, and reconnect. Because I'd rather do something that was like well connected rather than, oh, we have a cue to hit, let's go. And this is the Lilah Lewis that we know. Performers, absolutely performers, exquisite at their craft of clarity. Every single beat is hit, every single accent, you don't miss it. Single thing. I admire that so much about what they produce. I mean, they are so clear. They don't give you room to have any questions. Everything fits, and it's so easy to watch. Minus the mistake and the music error, I think this is going to be very exciting to see later on today. I just hope that they don't allow that music to become something that's in their head. But I know the coaching team will be taking care of that as well for them, so they can just put themselves in a scenario to rest and recover before the event later. If you have any questions before this ice dance warm-up's up, send them my way at US Figure Skating on X. I will do my best to answer them. We got 7 or 6 minutes left now in this practice. So send them my way if you're up and awake and watching. If not, then I hope you enjoy the event later today. On the screen, you can see today's schedule. We're just wrapping up the ice dance practice. Up next, we have the pairs practice. Very excited to see what these pair teams bring out for the free program. The warm-up. Later today, the men's and then the women's practice will be happening. Followed by getting this party started with the ice dance rhythm dance at 1 p.m. starting, and you can watch that on Peacock. funny little story. Like Kayla and I used to have so many little cues, but like points that we would just call picking up in the middle of a program, or like, oh, we're gonna pick up from that little jump, or like the throw, or like fun little things that we would just say, or anything like that. I think that it's so interesting. Like if you were to have an ice dance scene mic'd up during a warm up, first off, I think that a lot of it wouldn't be able to be used, especially if it was me talking. But two, I think that what would be really interesting is just hearing the way the languaging that's being used between the team in terms of what cues are being said, or like, okay, let's pick up from there. During an actual practice and warm up, Kayla and I didn't speak that much. I didn't feel like I had enough air in me too. I was always so gassed. So I was like, "You good?" She's like, "Good." Quick check in, and then we would just pick up from the back throw. Bam. And then we skate it, come back, get quick little feedback, probably have a laugh at how sweaty I might be or out of breath, and then go do something else. Kayla and I used a lot of eye contact, and I think that was something that was visible in our skating, but also I think that it was just so centering and grounding for us. There's something about like being able to see somebody, like really see them, and with the intensity of elite sport, particularly like this, it's so daunting, so amazing, but terrifying to be out there and do this in the best way possible. But I think that like being able to just like be vulnerable with somebody, I was so fortunate to be able to share that and not have to do it alone and just kind of sit with your thoughts and whatnot. I think that being able to share that experience with somebody is so beautiful with ice dance in pairs.
Dancers, there's 1 minute remaining in this warm-up. Competitors, if we have mispronounced your name, please notify the announcing team.
And we are just wrapping up the ice dance practice. Honestly, such a great event that we're about to see later today. You can catch that at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time on Peacock. I'm so excited to see what Chock Bates come out with and the rest of the skaters in the field. I think that we have some dynamicness and a lot of fun. So come join us, check it out. We're going to have a great time, and I will see you there. After a short break, you're going to be able to see the pairs event, actually pairs practice, excuse me, and I will have a special guest with me, and we're going to be giving our feedback on it.
We welcome you to the most important annual event in American skating. It's anyone's game when the skaters take the ice tonight at Nationals. Ham and O'Shea win the gold medal. Simply the best in the world.
The way that he moves across the ice is just like butter.
March 25th through the 30th, 2025, the world comes to Boston and the TD Garden. Over 300 of figure skating's best will compete at the 2025 ISU World Figure Skating Championships for the title of World Champion. The world's most celebrated skating competition returns to Boston and the United States for the first time in 9 years, and you can be there. Advance tickets are on sale now. Visit ISUWorlds2025.com for more information and to buy your tickets today.